end of the year. I know we're a week late, a dollar short, and a dime too many. Luke Taylor here, College Basketball Weekly with my friend, Sam Davidson. We are back from the Final Four. I went on vacation to Florida to rejuvenate.
How'd that work out?
I'm tan.
Do you feel rejuvenated?
Tanner than you.
Yeah, you are tanner than me. I need to get out there.
Yeah. No, it was good. I mean, it was, dude, the Final Four, as you know, I don't really stop, and I go out a little bit before you. I'm not bragging or anything, and it was good. It was a lot of fun. I would say it was one of my favorite Final Fours, but it wasn't one of my favorite Final Fours that we've been on. This is year 3, and I'm not complaining. I mean, first world problems. But I think the games, like last year's Final Four, the games were pretty nuts.
Yeah, I mean, it's what we talked about leading up to the Final Four. I think you asked me like what I was most excited about going for there, and I got it. And that's the just eliteness.
No, it wasn't. It was the Chex Mixes of bags you kept eating.
I crushed those
This
Chex
guy,
Mixes.
we're coming back from an AU tournament, Sam and I, my Sam, obviously.
Yeah.
And I just see Chex Mix and I think of you.
Thank you.
I really do. It's the black bags too, the blacky gray ones,
Yeah, the bold flavor. Yeah, they did a good job loading those up in the media room.
Yeah.
But no, it's like the eliteness of where college basketball has gotten. You can complain all you want about transfer portal, NIL, all those things. But, when you look at the team that Dusty May put together and you look at how great that team was.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, you're watching history at this point, when you're watching that team play, and then you watch a team like UConn, right? Who in my mind has the best college basketball coach in the past 20, 25 years. Right. Easily. And you look at the last 4 years postseason or like NCAA tournament play, like Hurley's teams they've won 2 national championships. The 2 games they've lost have been like a combined eight points, I think, to the eventual national champion. Right? Like you look at it like that, and so it's like you're putting this into this arena, right? Like this Coliseum atmosphere where I love watching coaches and players and families of the players and coaches like be able to experience that at that level. Like for a lot of these coaches, whether they're assistant coaches or strength and conditioning coaches or whatever it is, I mean, they've worked 20, 30 years to get to this point in the Final Four.
Yeah.
And even SIDs and things like that. Like this is what this is their why of why they're in sports.
Yep.
Right. And to be able to be a witness and observer of that level of eliteness is what I went to the Final Four for, and it delivered on every aspect of that.
Yeah. It was really cool to kind of I went one-on-one, if you haven't listened it, with Flynn Clayman. I'm going to do a lot of those this summer just because I'll be on the road going to some summer practices and what have you. So hope to have a handful of those. I'm actually going to do one for College Basketball Weekly next week with Heath Schroyer from, I was going to say McNeese, but now of LSU. So that's going to be interesting. That's our guy. But, I got to sit down with Flynn Clayman. I mean, what High Point is doing is just – you see them in the transfer portal. I'm like, really?
I mean, how do you call a program that's doing what Flynn Clayman and their AD and the president of their school? How do you call that a mid-major program anymore? Like what we're watching here, and I hope this gets saved because in 5-6 years, people are going to be talking about High Point the same way they talked about Gonzaga 20 years ago when they were building Gonzaga's like national program. I mean, High Point's going to be a top 25 program next year. There's no doubt in my mind.
You didn't even pick them to win the Big South, dog.
I know. I had him losing in the final game because I think it's hard to beat a Winthrop 3 times in the same season. But
not if you're High Point.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, I mean, they proved me wrong, and that's fine. Lots of people do.
Well, they only beat them twice. They lost to them, remember?
That's right. They were 1-1 going into that championship game. But like, I mean, honestly, like what Coach Clayman's doing there with the support of this school as a whole, I mean, it's impressive. and I think they're flying under the radar, but it's not going to be for much longer.
Yeah. Well, I don't think they're flying on the radar. I mean, I feel sorry. I think we should send fruit baskets to all the Big South Conference teams, because But that was one thing. That was a lot of fun. And then I went 2-on-1 with the DePaul basketball head coach Chris Holtmann and Dwayne Pavey. But what DePaul's doing in the transfer portal, as they call it, what is it? Demon Hall? No, what do they call it? Have you seen that?
No.
DePaul Hall.
DePaul.
Hall. No, D Hall.
Yeah.
I can't remember what the hell it was. That's just bad.
Yeah, but I mean, you nailed it.
It's crazy.
Holtman's like just a magician in what he's doing in the transfer portal, like with the resources that he has. And these resources are growing at DePaul, and you got to give PV credit for the growing resources at DePaul. But what Holtman's able to pull out of there, I mean, somebody needs to be studying his sales pitch during this transfer portal season. DePaul's going to be a lot better than they were this year, and this year they were a lot better than they were last year. And when you start to look at that 2-year improvement gap, and again, it's like we're gonna have to revisit this a year from now, right? But it's like when you look at what that 2-year gap of improvement is going to look like, it's going to be unprecedented compared to any other program in the country, in my opinion.
Yeah, and honestly, too, the Big East in general, I mean, that was part of the conversation, too, is just going to be better. You know the plan at Creighton now that Alan Huss is the head coach.
Yep.
Providence hired a dog in Brian Hodgson. I mean, what Villanova did in year one of Kevin Willard. I mean, Shaka Smart's, the Marquette's going to get better or going to be better. St. John's is St. John's. And I mean, let's be honest, UConn is UConn. So, and don't count out Seton Hall and Georgetown also, and Butler with Coach Norad. So I'm excited for that. But yeah, I think, I guess, what was your favorite thing other than the Chex Mixes at the Final Four that you'll take away from?
It was the first Final Four you and I attended in person, where we got to see really a national brand like Michigan, right? I'd say kind of the closest thing that we saw was like a Florida, right, last year. But when you start thinking of universities that have a national brand, you think of Michigan, right?
Mm-hmm.
In that kind of top group of 3 or 4 schools. And you saw that in the flesh of what that means from a student body, what it means from an alumni, what it means to just current administration. God.
You might see it. I live it, man. I married a Michigan. Yeah.
No, I know. And it's like, you don't get that unless you see that live. Right. And you look at what Michigan has gone through from a football program. We don't mention the downfall of this past year, from a personnel position, but like winning the national championship a couple years ago, to winning the national championship in basketball now, to, consistently being great in other sports across the board. It's what Ward Manuel's doing there is.
Oh, who's he? I think that was my takeaway. One of my favorite parts was
I mean, honestly,
interviewing him a couple of times.
What he's doing there, I mean, he is approaching the brand of Michigan athletics like a top 10 CEO in the country, in my opinion. And how you see him, how he greets fans, how he interacts with the media, how he walks through the halls. I mean, it's a guy you want to be around, right? It's a guy you trust. And to me, it's everything that you want in college athletics is a team like Michigan, whereas, half the country is going to call them the villain, right? Half the country is going to love the brand. But it's at the end of the day, it's just great college athletics at its finest.
Yep. I think my biggest takeaway was just seeing Danny Hurley more in person. I mean, the guy is just he's hilarious. I mean, he's a likable dude, and I wish the media would portray him like that a little bit more. I mean, I know it's not their job to do that, but I think that's something we can do because we're independent and the voice of college basketball. Not the home. We're going to be the voice of college basketball soon. But I really enjoyed that. It was cool to kind of see Lucas Murray, and it'll be interesting to see how he does in Boston College. I think he'll do well as long as they have the resources. I mean, the big word is resources. The NIT was fun to go to, see Tulsa, I mean, geez, that game against Tulsa Auburn was an awesome game, and kudos to Auburn for playing that game. I mean, let's be honest, and playing that tournament, but that was fun. I mean, that was a fun game. The band at Tulsa was phenomenal.
A Michigan band, right?
Yeah, isn't that hilarious? I love that.
No,
why not? I mean, they were good.
It's like, yeah, I mean, it's like hate on Auburn and the Pearl family all you want, but they backed up what they said. They said, hey, we belong in this tournament. And, a lot of teams said that. And a lot of teams every year are going to say that when they go from a bubble team to not making the tournament. And really you have one of two choices. One is to go play the NIT and show everybody that, hey, yeah, we deserve to be in that field, and we're gonna go roll through this game, or roll through this tournament, and
play in the Crown, and nobody cares.
Yeah, for sure. Or you go play in the Crown, or you don't play postseason ball, or whatever it might be. And so, I mean, you got to give Auburn credit. You got to give Stephen Pearl credit for saying, yeah, we belonged in this tournament, and now we're gonna go back that up with the next 4 or 5 games here.
Yep.
So. Tulsa should have won that game. Tulsa should have won that final game.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but it was a great game.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Like, if you put that game in like the Sweet 16, which it could have easily been a Sweet 16 game this year between Tulsa and Auburn, the way they were both playing that would have been an instant classic. So
yeah, it was nice to return back to Hinkle too, Fieldhouse. I couldn't find any previous remnants of Luke Taylor at the Hinkle Fieldhouse, but it really solidifies. I think the tournament committee did a really good job this year. I really hope they don't expand the tournament. I said it. I really don't. Well, because then it's like, okay, you let 8 more teams in, and does it make it better? I don't know, but I mean, I really love this tournament. I mean, I really like this tournament. Like the first couple, like the playing games were awesome in Dayton. I mean, those were awesome. Miami, Ohio, freaking Howard. I mean, those were fun. Freaking Texas. I mean, there were more Xavier fans at that game, and Xavier wasn't even playing in it. I mean, that was awesome. I mean, it was just, and then you go into the first 2 rounds and you see High Point, and you see some of these others, and, Santa Clara almost upset Kentucky. And then you go to the Sweet 16 with the shot by Mullins, which, I watched, live with my family. It was just, I mean, can you imagine being at that game?
No,
I mean, that would have been like, I might have cried. In excitement, of course.
I mean, it's a reminder of why college basketball is so great.
Yep.
For a few weeks out of the year, you have this sport where there's no helmets. You get to see the facial expressions on every single play. You get to see the coaches just bending their knees, getting down low, like yelling at their team. It's like, it's survive and advance. At its finest. And that's really what makes it the greatest tournament in all of sports, in my opinion.
Yep, hands down, for sure. And just the fanfare for Illinois. God, I missed that one, the open practice where, I mean, it was pretty much the dome was filled, but
awesome.
And it's great. Actually, I was just reading something that Illinois has 4 of their 8 returning players coming back. So that's, and I said to Coach Underwood, I don't know if you know that, I said to him, I looked him in the eyes going away from the meeting. I said, Coach, great season. Don't worry, you'll be back next year. And he said, thank you. I think they're capable. I mean, what he did this year, I mean, he's a great coach. We got to get him on the show. So I want to lead to this. What are you most looking forward to next season, or this upcoming season? I know it's not the transfer portal, and the coaching carousel has stopped. What would you say? What are some storylines you're looking forward to next year?
You mentioned it a little earlier. I think the reemergence of the Big East is going to be a big storyline next year, right? I mean, everybody thought the Big East was going to have a down year this year, which we can call it a down year. They still had a representative in the national championship game, so it's call it what you want, right? But it's next year. They're just going to get better. Right. I don't think anybody was denying the fact that the last 5 or 6 years you've had a really low bottom in the Big East, right? All of those teams, when you look at the changes those bottom teams have made the past 2 to 3 years, all those teams are now competing, Right. And if you ask me who's going to finish 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th in the Big East next year, I don't know. Like, I couldn't even predict it. Right. Like, it's like, because I think that is just going to be a battle. Right. You're going to have the UConns, you're going to have the St. John's in the number 1 and 2 spot leading up to the season. After that, it's open game for any of those teams next year. I'll say that. So I'm really looking forward to the Big East kind of reemergence. Looking forward to what Syracuse can do as well as a storied national program. Now you have like the blue collar
golden child. The golden child
coming back. It's like that's going to be a really fun storyline to watch. He's doing great already, putting a roster together, but he's just going to have support from every Syracuse fan, every Syracuse booster, every Syracuse alum. Like, they're all on board for the Jerry Mack era.
And I'm excited to see the younger Anthony come back. I mean, he is coming back, to see him, and Gavin Doty. I think people are going to know who Gavin Doty is. If you don't,
for sure.
He just reminds me of a lot of different players, that have played at Michigan. Like, you look at Buchanan or McNamara or Routens or, some of these guys, Chipola. That's a really Jason Chipola. That's a name really from the past. But
and I think Syracuse in the ACC is just going to be the storyline with the ACC as well. You're going to have Syracuse. You're going to have, Miami, Florida. Right, with Jay Lucas, like where he took that program and just
True Washington's going back to Richard Pitino.
I saw that. So it's but yeah, Miami, Florida, like where I think they're gonna fly under the radar leading into the preseason, and I think you're gonna see Jay Lucas's team upset a lot of people. Or I'm excited to see what kind of schedule he puts together in non-conference. But I think they're going to be a lot better than people think they are going into preseason. And I wouldn't be surprised if they jumped into the top 20, top 15 in the country before Christmas.
I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see a lot of things. I'm excited to see what Charleston's going to do with John Gross. I'm really excited about that. I'm also excited to see what Akron's going to do with Coach Ford getting an opportunity. It'll be interesting to see how the MAC goes. Talking about the MAC, it's going to be interesting to see how the American Conference goes. How good is Memphis going to be next year? Even Tulsa, South Florida, that's going to be interesting. And then you got to look at the storylines with the Mountain West and the Pac-12. That's going to be really interesting to see how that goes with both programs. I'm excited to see how crazy Sundance Wicks is going to be on camera because, it's Sundance.
Yeah.
He's crazy. But no, I'm excited what kind of food they're going to put out for the media in the different games I go to. And, the NCAA tournament, are they going to step it up a notch? I still think about those nachos with cheese and chili that you had at the Final Four, dude. That was
the hot dog was not great, but it's all good. I mean, it's shout out to Chex Mix. They kept me they kept me alive for
the official non-sponsor of Full Court Network.
Right. No, it's good. It's, I think. How great would it be if Michigan makes the Final Four in Detroit? Can you imagine Ford Field with Michigan?
You know how good it is? I can drive, and it's 2 hours and 35 minutes. I'm going to take all of here. We're going to have a house.
Yes.
We're going to play pickleball.
Yes, you're going to pay $200 to park your SUV there. So, but it's all good. It's all good. It'll be a good time. And but yeah, college basketball. We're not going to sleep in May here.
No. So let me ask you one thing, okay?
Yep.
If you can go to one arena, one field house, one arena, one home court next year, where to watch a game, where would it be? I feel like we need to just go pick at least one. We're gonna hopefully go multiple, but if we could do one, take a Full Court Network on the road.
Yeah, it's a good question, because I think one of the storylines we haven't mentioned yet is North Carolina. Right, and what's going to happen?
They're not going to give us media credentials.
No, but I was going to say, it's like I think you're gonna see some excitement there, right? They're going to be a better team than they were this year. Yeah. Okay. I saw Michael Malone coach. In Colorado, he was won the world championship with Denver. and he's a great coach. I think he's going to be a good college coach as well. But I mean, you look at where North Carolina is going to fit in that whole ACC story that we mentioned earlier. As far as like arenas, I would love to go see a game at High Point. We've already talked about them. I think they're just going to continue.
Funny, I've already gone.
Yeah, I know you have, but I think they're going to continue to build just a national presence, and it'd be great to get to Allen Fieldhouse next year as well. There's rumors being like Bill Self's last year.
Yeah.
So I think as part of like that farewell tour, it's gonna, whether he makes
should we start the rumor that Dusty May is going to get the job? Just to,
no,
every year it's Dusty May.
Start that Tommy Lloyd's going to get the Kansas job. There's a huge battle going back and forth with KU and Arizona fans, and right now. And so it's, I mean, I think that if Self announces that it's his last year, it's going to be a really special kind of roadshow, right? Yeah. He's one of those polarizing coaches where, the Big 12 fan base doesn't like him because of how dominant he's been. But I think that you're going to see so much respect from him. Yep. Aside from the yelling, there will be standing ovations at opposing arenas. And I think, again, that's what kind of makes college basketball so special is you have this villain role, but it's like a villain role that people respect because of what you've achieved over your career. And I think if he is making that announcement leading up to the season, he's going to be the spotlight throughout the Big 12.
Yep. Well, that's all good stuff. I tell you, it's all good stuff. I got to get to New Mexico. I want to go to the pit one of these days. Yeah. I think that would be electric. But Sam, we got some good stuff coming down the pipeline with some other shows you and I are going to be hosting that kind of coincide with the Full Court Network. But we're excited about that. You're going to be doing a sports medicine show for a new venture and a new sponsor of the Full Court Network. And then I'm going to be doing more of a sports coaches show, life leadership and culture, and kind of do just like we do with the Full Court Press. We're going to kind of expand it to other sports and stuff like that. Because there's so many great stories, so many, just great coaches and it's all related. So, but I guess that's it, my friend. We'll do some shows here and there, but we'll be back in the fall more consistently on the College Basketball Weekly, powered by the Full Court Network. What you got, Sammy?
Let's get it, LT.
No, we can't. Let's get it to the summer, and then we'll get it back in the fall. So there we go.
Get it however you need to get it.